Hi guys. Today I would like to make a longer video about how these backpack frames came to life and the thought behind them and how I made them, and I will be going more in depth about these frames. So stay with me. So, hello, welcome to my channel. This is Riley. Here comes Sitka. And today I will be trying to make a video about these wooden backpack frames, these guys here, and the thought behind them, and how they came to life and the journey of them. So first of all, my name is Vahid Kolsberg, and to start it off with, my profession is photography. That is my training, that's my occupation, has been my occupation for a long time, and I especially prefer and enjoy the analog aspect of photography. And the reason for that can be a different video, a future video. But this guy here is one of my cameras. It's a heavy 8 by 10 inch large format camera. In itself, it weighs about 6.4 kilos. It is now collapsed together, portable, and the camera itself is made of magnesium and aluminum, so it's a very heavy thing. It has some glass plates on it, it has a heavy lens on it, and everything is very robust and compact. And this, combined with my love for being outdoors, was a struggle in the beginning. This kind of camera, it's not a handheld camera, as you can imagine. It really needs a tripod. Cut. So naturally, this camera being very heavy, it was designed to be used in a studio, a photo studio, where you don't need to move it around too much. It's still possible to bring it with you, but it's very big, it's very heavy, and it needs absolutely a tripod. Now, being outdoors, as we know, it's trying to minimize your weight for different aspects of being outdoors. Sometimes you want to have weight, you balance it all. So I do have a tripod, but the dilemma was that I didn't want to carry this stuff. And in my opinion, a tripod is completely useless when it's not used as a tripod. It's perfectly designed to be used as a tripod when a camera is on it and you're actually using the camera. Now, carrying this thing around it already weighs quite a lot in itself, and the heavier your camera is, the more sturdy and heavier your tripod also should be. So naturally, I did not want to carry this thing around. And my own opinion is that, like I said before, a tripod is dead weight when you're outdoors. You don't want to carry it. I don't want to carry it. And 90% of the time when you have a tripod, it's either laying around in a room somewhere, in a corner, you use it as a head hanger, you use it to put things on it. And if you're a professional photographer, you will use the tripod more than the average person. But in itself, it's only useful when you're actually using it as it's designed for. Otherwise, it's just dead weight. And carrying this when you're outdoors, just to use it as a tripod, in my opinion, is very challenging, to say the least. So I wanted to get away from this thing. So I started thinking, how can I bring all my equipment with me without carrying them, basically. The camera was essential. It had to come with me. But the way I looked at it, the tripod is not. And I had to figure out how to bring a tripod with me without having to carry it. So this led me to a thought process of how do I carry my necessities with me when I'm outdoors. All my outdoors equipment, tent, knife, axe, cooking utensils, everything. And avoid the extra weight of this tripod. So at that time, this was many years ago, I knew that in Scandinavia, especially in Lapland, and especially with when there was, this is going a bit off track now, but back in the days when modernization was coming into Lapland, with building the railway track and into the wilderness, into the swamps, into the water, for making power stations and regulating those waters, all that equipment needed to be carried out there. And the way it was done, it was on the backs of people, on the backs of locals and people who would travel from other cities for the opportunity to work and gain a living. But basically everything was carried on the backs of people. And the things that they carried it on were basically just a wooden board. Just a long rectangular wooden board with a platform, small platform on it. And this board could look in different ways. And with a leather strap on the back of it, you could have this board on you and attach whatever you needed to attach on top of it. And so that's how it was done. It was not ergonomic in many cases, but that was the easiest way to carry heavy equipment. And also, we know that wooden backpack frames have existed for a very, very long time in different forms and configurations. So what I did was I basically spent one winter trying to figure out a solution for this. How do I bring my tripod without carrying one? And how do I also bring all the other equipment that I would need to bring? So this will bring us to my first backpack frame. Cut. So that brings us to my first backpack. All right, so I don't know if you can see that well from there, but I will try to be pedagogic about it. Pedagogical. First, my first thought after figuring out how to bring everything with me was also that I needed a tripod. Also is collapsible in its length, to make it longer or shorter depending on what kind of angle or what it is you want to photograph. So already then I had to compromise on the length of the frame when I use it. So the idea now is I have my backpack. All right, let's start again. So the thought came, all these thoughts came like pieces of puzzles together, and I started to think of, okay, I have to build myself something that would make it possible for me to bring everything, my equipment, my backpack, everything, plus the tripod. So then I thought of this idea of, what if I use an external pack frame that also doubles as a tripod. So this is the backpack when its function is a backpack. And I will take a moment now and demonstrate how I use it as a tripod. As you also can see, one thing I also wanted to do with the length of this is to be able to hang things on it, like I just did with this and other things. So while you're outdoor walking around, it's very handy to put lightweight things here, like a cup that you just take it off while you're walking and dip it in a water source and have a drink. Up here in Lapland, basically all waters that you will run into are perfectly good to drink as it is. You don't need to purify it. So here is the frame in itself when the bag is not attached to it. The bag is a Swedish military surplus bag. It's a day pack. You can fold it out and put more things in there. It's a good bag, but it's not the best. I had to modify it somewhat. Already off the bat, what I discovered with this my build thing here is that when you have it on your when you have the weight with everything on your back, it's very flexible. So when you're walking, the frame follows the movements of your back and makes it much easier to be flexible as you walk. It's not stiff, it's not rigid, it follows your movements. So what I did, I had a friend back in Jokkmokk, in Swedish Lapland, whose father had built a wooden bag frame. So I went and studied his frame, and he had taken his model out of another, I think maybe a Fjällräven early aluminum external frame, and he had made an S curve, slight S curve. And the reason for that is to fit better the ergonomics of our backs, because our backs are not flat. It's a bit of a shapy. So right off, I took the S form of his frame, and I knew that I will also gonna use that on mine. And so I started to build this thing, and when it was ready, I made it so that it would also be dismantleable, so that it would have these two functions as a peg frame and also as a tripod. And I will now demonstrate how I convert it over to a tripod. So these things will not be used for the tripod, so I put them away. What I'm left with are these two frames, the left and right of the frame, and I made a third one that when I carry as a backpack, I put behind one of them, and I just lace it and carry it with me, like so. So when I use it as a tripod, I bring it out. So this tripod has undergone many forms and ways to put it together, and witness to that are all these holes and attempts to make it easier and faster and simpler to dismantle it and put it together as a tripod. So in the beginning, I really needed to have a tripod, so what I did was to use different metal parts to put it together. But after a while, I also didn't want to carry those metal parts because they were extra weight, and though they work and made the tripod very sturdy, and I could put my big camera on it, and I have taken many photographs that way. I have taken single exposures of up to 14 hours nighttime photography during the winter, when we have more dark hours than daytime hours, light hours. So the tripod has been out there by itself with the camera on it for 8 hours, 14 hours, one single shot. So it's very sturdy. But I needed to move away from the metal parts. And at this point, I'm still working on a better solution. So there are different ways. It's still in progress, but somewhere in the future I will make it very simple, very handy, very collapsible, so that I can attach these things on it and make it sturdy, make it simple, and put my camera on top here. But as we know, life is ongoing and other projects come into it and we have to prioritize. So this has been a project that has been on ice for a very, very long time. But the idea is to make it very simple. I don't know if you can see, imagine the third one. So that I just put them all together and use it as a tripod. Let me put back it. Wait, bro. So I have done many modifications on this. The main one being this part here. And before I had this wooden thing on the front. But I discovered that it would create a little bump here that would eat a little my shoulders. So then I moved it to the back and I got rid of that problem. Another thing I discovered with this tripod, with this frame, is that the middle part here is too flat. So I knew that my next one has to be more rounded. And the reason for that is that when you're carrying something, like so, and you bend, this wooden part here will hit your back, and with a weight on it can be a little uncomfortable. So, but I still use it. This is my main pack frame, and it's a very nice experience. I really love the collapsibleness of it, and it has been a long journey to come to this, so I really love this. It's very comfortable, except for this when you're walking too many kilometers and you go up and down and bend. So I knew that I had to change this later on. Cut. So that was my first backpack slash tripod two-purpose usefulness. And before I go into the second backpack, I will talk about how I made it. So, let's take this one. This wood is ash, and it's comprised of many layers of ash that I have glue pressed into the S form. So just to make one takes, it's a process to just make one. And maybe you will be able to see the different layers here. So it comes like this. When I first made this, I had to order the material I needed, the ash. And why I came to start using ash wood was because of two friends I had back in Jokkmokk. And one was all around artist, very practical person. And he had a lot of experience working with wood and blacksmithing, and he's just very, very incredible and amazing. So we talked about different kinds of wood and their abilities, their qualities. And he also said that he had built a dog sled out of ash that is still in use today, and his opinion was that ash is a very light but also very strong wood. So, and to confirm that, he advised me to go talk to another friend of his who was a ski maker, and traditional ski maker. He makes his skis and he sells them. And so I went to him, and it turned out that he also uses ash, but not as much. But for the purpose of tripod / backpack frame, ash was perfect to start with. So in my process, I have talked I have sought the advice of different people who have helped me forward in this project. And I also have another friend who helped me out sourcing material. This is birch wood. And I'm in the process of building a third pack frame. So I have selected some material from the birch, and I have sandpapered it to make it ready to be glue pressed. So that's an ongoing project that hopefully I will have the time to do that also. Besides the wood, my philosophy and thinking was also I wanted to avoid metal, and that's also the reason why I wanted to move away from the metal when I use the tripod. And besides wood, I use leather that I have wetted and press sawn into these shapes. So let's now talk about the second frame. move some things away. So, someone at the door. Yeah, sorry about that. There was someone at the door. It was some guests, paying guests of us. We are also in the accommodation business here in Rovaniemi in Finland, and those were some guests that were checking in. We do accommodation, and we also do activities like husky rides with Sitka and Riley that we saw in the beginning of this video, and other things. Anyways, the second backpack. I built this frame actually for my wife, and so already there are some differences. It's smaller, it's lighter, and I put in the improvements that I wanted to do, like for instance with this middle crossbar here. I made improvements and I put it into this. Only difference is that this pack frame is not collapsible, and let's go into this one. I love this bag, by the way. This is also a Swedish Army bag, and it's smaller than this one. This one is canvas, which makes it a bit heavier, and also when it rains it absorbs the water and gets even heavier. This one is plastic, so it's already rainproof in itself. At least the upper part is plastic. I don't know how waterproof the rest of it is, but it's a very nice bag, and I'm very jealous of my wife for this bag. I have taken it myself a couple of times when I go out, because it's just so much more comfortable than my own. Anyways, so already there are some improvements with this one, and like I mentioned before, the improvements I wanted to transfer into my second frame is this one. I have made it rounder. If we have a side-by-side comparison, perhaps you can see. And the upper part it goes right through here like with my other frame, but this is, instead of wood, it's heavy duty plastic that I have shaped into this rod. And the way I have attached it to the frame is also very different than with my own. These knots, they are dog sledging knots, and they are tightening permanent knots. So if I would like to remove this, I would have to cut it off. Anyways, one improvement is this canvas cloth here. This is to protect also your back when you are carrying the bag with heavy things in, so that the things inside don't poke into your spine, into your back. So this makes it very comfortable. So also, like I said, this is not collapsible. This is completely, it's what it is. I cannot remove this. It's fixed into position, and it only serves as a frame. It does not serve as a tripod, but it still retains the same qualities, like with the flexibility, and it's lighter, it's smaller, and I really love this this frame. And my next frame that I will build will be like this one, and I can't wait to go through that process also and finish it. I kept some of the length of the frame itself, and the reason is again that it's nice to hang things off that on it that you would like to have easy access to when you are walking. Things like a cup, maybe a small knife, or a small hatchet. You can hang it off there and attach it, lace it on the back for easy access. This hatchet is also so small that you can just put inside your bag. It will not affect that much, but for easy access, those are the things you can do. And also the length of it is one other reason, is so that when you're using your bag and you can continue building on top. Maybe you want to have your sleeping mat rolled up on here, or other things, your tent or other things, and this frame will keep it in place and not disturb your head so much when you walk. So that's one of the good things about the length of this, so you can continue build your bag, your equipment on top. Alright guys, I think we have reached the end of this video, and thank you for being patient with me, and thank you for watching the video. And this has been an ongoing journey for me with improvements on each frame that I make. I feel with this one, I like that it's very light, very compact, and it's a universal fit. I have fitted to my wife, and I'm very jealous of it because it suits me also very well. It's very sturdy, and quite honestly, I don't know what other improvements I can do on it for my third pack frame. Maybe one improvement is to attach the leather shoulder, the straps, directly on here, so that I get rid of this rod, both the plastic and the wood. But it's nice to have these journeys, and where you can see how it started, where the next stage goes, and also the third one. So there are always improvements. I would also really like to put back the collapsibility into the third one, but I still have to think what the usefulness of it would be, because I already have one and I'm already using it as a tripod. So I don't know what the use of that would be for the third one. But I have learned to really love this bag, and I would like to have one for myself. So when my wife is not using it, I steal it from her. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching this video. This was my first real attempt of a YouTube video. I hope you enjoyed it, and let's see what the next video will be about. So my name is Vahid, and thank you for watching.